All right, so next we're going to work on layout number 2. And this one is a vertical design. And I need a sheet of white cardstock, which I have a bunch of. And I need to trim the branding strip off of this. So where did I put my trimmer? So with this one, we're using a few different we're using some circles, which is kind of fun. Nice to break things up and use something other than squares all the time. So let me make sure that this is all right. So what we need to do is we need to pull out some of our paper. There's a few different patterns that we'll need. We need this guy, and we need this guy, and we need this guy. And I used for this grabbing a punch. At least I knew where it was. Okay. So we need to punch some circles, and this is, I think it's a 2.5 inch circle punch. So if you have a die, or if you've got a, if you don't have like tools like that, if you've got, these are super cheap. Remember these from like school, your compass, trace it, and then you can fussy cut any circle you want out. If you use your ruler and you draw a line at any, whatever length you want for the diameter of your circle, and then put a little point at the at the center point, you put your point in to that mark, and then you kind of adjust this so that your pencil hits the end of the line, and you run it around, and you've got your circle in the right size. So I use that a lot of times, especially for like bigger circles. You can use a plate or a cup or anything that you've got on hand, but these are that's a nice inexpensive option if you don't have a punch or a circle cutter. Okay, so 2 of those, and then we need 2 of these. My punch 1/2" is not very sharp. I don't know what I've done to it. I think I've had it for a very long time. And then we need on this paper, I don't think that this is, oh, no, I'm not going to do that. I'm just going to fussy cut these out. Use my larger scissors too. So we need to cut 2 labels out of the togetherness paper. And the other paper that I used, the other 2 papers that I used were, I don't have their branding strips on them, so I will have to double check those and let you know, because I used part of that, but I think it's actually on here. So we needed 2 circles out of the Pretty Plaid and 2 circles out of the Warm and Cozy paper. So that's what these are. And then the labels are from Togetherness. Okay, so I'm just going to cut these out. Like I said, it doesn't have to be perfect, because on a they're a little wonky, but I don't care. The other thing that is really nice to have, I've got a set of nesting metal dies. Actually, I've got a couple of different sets, and that have like all the circle sizes that you could possibly need. But what one doesn't have, the other one does. So, which I could have used those as well, but this is quicker. All right, and then we need to cut 2 strips from this. We need, let's see, a 1/2 inch. So use this trimmer instead and see if it's the blade's sharper. Put this in at a 1/2 inch. Oh, that blade's a lot. This a 1/2 inch. Seems to be, this does not look like it's a 1/2 inch. It looks wider than that. It is. Hang on. There we go. That's better. Okay. We also need this on in our die cuts, and we need frame. Stuff aside, and I can't find what I'm looking for. Alright, so here's this. These over here. Okay, so I need the little wreath here from the ephemera pack. And then I also need so let's grab the other things that we need from here. We need pumpkin, and we need, let's pull these out, pull things as we go, make sure I don't miss anything. That, and the little scarf, and there should be a little hat in here. Sky. The little socks. Need this guy. And there's nothing else in here. I think that there's a box, but I don't need that guy. There's two of those in here somewhere. I need the little hat, and sky. There's another little acorn dude in here that I missed. So let me pop through this again really quick. maybe the other one is in a different, is in the, another one here maybe. Oh, it's in this one. All right, I think we needed that. So in here, we need another tray because there's too many things. All right. Pumpkin, pumpkin, flower, flower, pumpkin. All right, let's go through these really quick. Leave this guy and leaves that guy. This guy and leaf, flower, flower, pumpkin, some trees, for nothing. This one, I don't think it's that one. I think it's this guy, and then that guy, and then this guy, that guy, and trees. Little houses. Let's see. I think this leaf, there should be like a flower. No, it's, you stay down there. This I'm going to put over here. This one that we needed. Flowers. If I separate them this way, then when I have to look for something, I'll be able to find it more easily. Nope. Out. Nope. All right. Get down. Okay. I think we have almost everything. There's one flower that I'm missing, And it might just, which is really weird. It might be on something else. It's a fussy cut one. It's this guy, and he is fussy. I'll tell you which paper I fussy cut him from. I think then the other things that we need are from our see, my desk starts getting messy, and then we're doomed. Okay, so let's start with what we've got, and then we'll grab things as we need to. So first of all, set these aside, and I'm going to glue my paper strips. And one of the things that I'm going to do is I'm going to flip them so that they don't have the same starting and ending point. They're not symmetrical. On the project sheet, it shows the side, so that, okay, so I'm going to put this one over here. Glue that down. And on the project sheet, it shows stitching running along the edge here. And for the sake of time, I'm not going to do that, but I have a little bit more adhesive on this one. And so this one, I'm going to start with the green on top. So it just creates a little variety from one side to the next. Whoops. I just need to flip these over and trim the edges. Okay. All right. Bye, Michelle. I probably missed you a while ago. Looks like you signed off a bit ago. All right, so let's see here. So now we're going to kind of create the foundation of our page. And we're going to layer our circles coming down the page. And I don't want them to be like too linear. In fact, with the little plaid, I'm going to make sure that I turn it so that the stripes are running diagonally. And it's a small detail, but I think it makes a difference. Okay. And then here is our frame. And this is going to frame our photo. And so it asks for a 3.5 inch circle, or at least a 3.5 inch photo with the subject of your photo in the center so that you can kind of lay this on top and then kind of fussy cut around it. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you a little, it probably many of you know this, but if you cut fun foam in a narrow strip like this, it's very pliable and it's a lot quicker than trying to put little foam dots in all of the areas around a frame like this. So you can just use your fingers and kind of guide it around. And because I've cut it really thin, it works. I might have to add a couple of little areas where it's going to support some of the leaves and stuff, but for the most part, you can get the whole frame done quick and easy. Probably take a little bit here and a little bit there, and maybe a bit on this one here. But the other pieces I think are going to be fine just the way they are. Okay. And then with my cardstock, let's see here. I have a sheet sitting around. Okay. So then I'm just going to take this, I'm going to put some glue on it. And put it on the cardstock. I'm going to let it sit for a second. And then I'm going to add some foam behind some of my circles. I want some foam behind this guy. So he can kind of stand out a little bit. And then this one, I'll let him sit there. And then this guy's gonna have, I can round and one of my photos, my cardstock came a little bit loose, but that's all right. I think that there is all right. There's a little bit there. I think I'm going to put some foam underneath the photo too on this guy to make the center of my layout stand out. So I kind of want this part to show up, and then add another little piece of foam under this one, and then we'll do, here's my orange guy, I'll have him come over here. Okay, so this is kind of how it's going to sit, basically. So I want the knit of the white circles going vertically, and then I want the plaid to go on a diagonal, and then it kind of just gives a little variation in the way that all of the stripes are going, because we've got these going horizontal, we've got these going vertical, and then the plaid will be diagonal, and it just adds a little bit of variation in the way that all of the linear stuff is going to sit. So let's go ahead and actually for this I'm going to use some tape adhesive. All right, so put that one there. Put this guy over here. And this guy, he's going to need glue anyway because foam does not like tape. Kind of move him a little. This way. All right. And this guy. And then this one is going to go right here. So I'll put a little bit in the center here. But this is a great design, and you can use it with all different shapes. So like you could use it with hexagons, triangles. You can use it with squares too, flowers, all the things. Okay, so we're going to add him about right here. So I'm trying to make sure that the edges are just all a little off. So like this edge isn't in alignment with this one. So I'm moving it in just slightly so that it's just a little bit off. And then this guy, obviously, he needs glue. And then this one. Go about right there. This one. I'm going to drop him just a little bit. And since this guy has to overlap him a little bit, at least that's how I'm showing it on the project sheet, I'm going to stick a little bit of foam in the center here. He'll need a little bit of glue as well. here. So there we go. So now that these are kind of put in the right place, I'm just going to add a little bit of liquid glue behind them so that they don't move. But I kind of do that so that at least I have a little something that can move if I need it to. And this would be really cool, like to take machine stitching or even hand stitching if you were so inclined around these circles, because I think it would add a great little detail. And that's something that you can always do afterwards too. So there we go. Step one done. Oh, actually, I put the little strips on. That was one of the last things to do. But okay, so now let's pull out some of the larger embellishments, and we'll start kind of layering them where they need to go. I had that upside down. So we're going to put our little pumpkin right about here. And then let's see here. We need I need see here what I've got. So I've got this guy is going to kind of go right under here. This guy is kind of going to go right over here, except for whatever reason, thinking that the leaf that I used is a little bit darker. Just look through here. May have been a fussy cut leaf, but that's all right. I'm just going to use whatever we've got here. And then the other thing that I don't think that I pulled out was a little teal flower, which might be teal flower here. No. I might have a fussy cut one in here somewhere. Or oh no, I do have it. All right. This guy here, the little orange one with the pink here, that over, and then this guy is going to go about right there. And this guy will place over here. And then I also, with the scarf, I really wanted to use it and it was not wide enough. And so what I did is let's see here, I cut, I want to make sure that I cut this in the right spot. I think I cut it here so that it will extend out beyond on either side of the frame. Cute, huh? Okay, so that goes there. Then we need a little, we've got our little orange flower. We've got a art leaf, a little pink flower, our orange socks, a little bit of the little acorn, and then we've got the opposite acorn down here, and this little leaf goes about right here, and then we want to slip our hat here. So in essence, what I've done with the embellishments is that they're snaking around down through all of the details on the page. And so what we'll do is we'll start adding some adhesive. And with these, this page is so cool, and I like having a little bit of dimension on some of the bits and pieces. So we'll probably add a little bit of dimension on some of it, but some of it we'll just leave the way that it is. So we'll put this guy down here. Kind of want him to just sit here. And then sometimes with these, I'll just kind of curl the petals with my fingernail so that they just kind of flip up a little bit. So put him about right here. I'm gonna move this guy if he's, oh. That's one thing with liquid glue, is it is not forgiving. So let's move him over here. All right, so there we go. And then this guy, I think I will maybe put some at this one. Take this, and I'm going to put this so that it's just sitting right along here. All right. This guy, put a little bit of adhesive on him, and he's going to sit right nestled in here. This guy, I just kind of want him. glue here, and want him to just kind of sit right over about here. And then put some adhesive here. We'll put the scarf in so that he's just sticking out just a little beyond where the wreath frame is. And then that adds just a nice little detail there. Okay. And then put this here, kind of bend him just a little bit so that he can so I'm just putting him in. I just put glue along kind of that inside vein of the leaf so that the edges can kind of pop up just a little bit. And then do the same thing with this one and just kind of pinch the little leaf or the little petals so they just have a little bit of, just adds, gives them just a little bit of character, I think. Okay. Let's see. There. And then this guy, I think it's going to sit about right here. And we'll put the little socks. And the key is that everything just has a little, by having them, like everything kind of touch something else, everything just kind of has a little relationship with one another. Okay. And then I'm going to do this also. So I'm going to take this and just bend it along that vein of the leaf. And then I'm going to run my adhesive just right along there so that it's going to stick. Let's see, I want this, I think I want this kind of right along here. And then this other little acorn, kind of bend these little guys just a bit, and then have him sit about here. I want to make sure, because I think we have putting, these are gonna have like a little, make sure that I put this in the right place here. don't lose my little acorn. All right, so those can sit right about there. And then our little hat. It's going to pop in. Right there. Alrighty. And honestly, that looks cute, kind of just like it is, but we got to add some more. Okay, so then we need to, so this is everything that we have through step 3. We gathered our supplies, we did all of our big pieces for the foundation of our page, and then we added some of the more substantial die cuts. And now we're just going to go in and sprinkle the little bits and pieces. One of the things, we've got this guy, and I'm going to put some foam adhesive under him. No, it's perfect. All right. Because this doesn't have like an obvious title. It's just got a little, some little sentiments throughout. And I do that a lot on my pages. So there, just want that to sit right there for a second. I'm going to hold it down. Okay. All right, so then we're going to start with some of our other, got some, probably some puffy stickers and some of the foam that we'll add to it. We've got this guy. Let's see. We haven't used him, so maybe let's just add. Just add this guy. Okay, so there's that. And then we need some little, like that, and then we'll do a little puffy sticker. We've got this guy. It's going to go right over where, actually I'm going to put this one too, Fall Pigs is going to sit right, kind of right here. And right there. And then this guy is just going to kind of cover up the sunflower. Actually, this is not great. Let's see here. The lighter one. There's two puffy florals, and we want the one that has the lighter leaves. So he's going to go about right here, and then the Fall Pix is going to sit there. I think that one needs a little bit of foam. So let me grab this because it's sitting there kind of wonky. I have have decided that tweezers and I are not friends. So a paper piercer works much better for me. Okay, so there's that. And then we need a little, let's see here, I should have maybe a little glow. A little yellow flower. I thought I did. Maybe I'll just grab something from floral die cuts. There's got to be something. Something in here that's yellow. This one will work. Might be for something else, but we'll see. I think I might have already used our last page. Did we use a and I'm going to put a little foam behind this. There. And sit. Something just a little bit lighter there. I think I'm going to put this pear there because I wanted something kind of yellowish. All right. And then we've got all of these. I'm just going to tuck in right about here. We've got Stay Cozy, and then we need to add a few more little bits and pieces. Let's see what we've got over here in our puffy stickers. This guy. To add him kind of right over here underneath where there's a little bit of space between the die cut and the scarf. And then pink apple. Put over here. And I'm going to just put a little bit of adhesive here in the center and sit him right there. And then I have a little floral that this little guy. It's going to sit right there. So cute. And then we've got, since this one is white, I'm going to put some foam behind him so that he has a little shadow, so because I want him to stand out against the white background. So he's going to go about right here. I want to just kind of flip his little petals up just a little bit. Okay. And then there was, get out here, Tates, sorry. And then we need something to fill in right there. I thought that, so we need something right here. And I want it to be take and put these here. There we go. Oops. There we go. Put that there. And then I want to put another little mushroom. I'm going to put right here. He's going to kind of fill this little bit of space here. And add I'm going to put this little snail right here just to kind of fill in that little bare spot. And then add a little pink heart that I'll put it right up here. And I think we're done. So there we go. Very cute. All right.